Everyone's going through some big internal battle
For sure.
that you will likely never really know about. If you invest in your people and you care for your people, they'll give their best to the company and to their coworkers and customers and suppliers, and ultimately, their communities and families too. In any business, there's always 50 or 100 broken things. It's just the nature of business, right? If one of our customers comes to us and says, "We're doing this thing, would you like to participate?" Usually the answer is yes.
In this episode, I'm talking to Iggy Domagalski, CEO of Wajax. They are one of the largest Canadian companies offering industrial products and services. They have over 3,000 employees across 119 locations coast to coast. And they're doing over $2.2 billion a year in revenue. That's billion with a B. We're going to talk about number one, their top 3 marketing channels: direct sales, pay-per-click ads, and events, and his thoughts and philosophies on each one of these channels. Number 2, AI tools. What is a $2 billion company investing in terms of AI tools, and how much does it cost to implement them? And number 3, we're going to try to figure out all the little things like how much is their return on ad spend for a $2 billion company, and personal things like how Iggy keeps organized, how much he travels throughout the year, and how many hours does he work per day on average. And every time he can't answer a question, as usual, we both have to take a shot of hot sauce. Wish me luck, Martians. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, we got a special guest, Iggy Domagalski. This is his second time coming on the show. He's the CEO of a company called Wajax. Wajax is a pretty large Canadian company, one of the longest standing and most diversified industrial products and services provider. They have over 3,000 team members across over 119 branches coast to coast in Canada. So Iggy, round 2. Welcome back to the show, round 2.
Thanks, Simon. I'm excited to be here. Seemingly, I just can't get enough of chugging hot sauce.
It's like one of those things, once you get started, it becomes like an addiction. Now I'm just like chugging hot sauce everywhere. It's our last recording was probably a year ago. It's been some time.
It's been a minute. It's great to catch up.
How has it been the last year? Wow, it's been a long time. Any maybe like share some top 2 highlights? Maybe one from work and one from personal, like a personal highlight.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I think I'll start with it's kind of a work/personal one. I attended a really wonderful leadership development course at a place called the Center for Creative Leadership. That was kind of a highlight. I'd wanted to do that for quite some time, and I'd taken lots of courses on just put it all into lump it all together, like business acumen, right? Like get better at finance, get better at IT, and I've taken all those. But this one is all about you, like as the leader. So it was all about me, very kind of personalized to the person. You're in a cohort of about 12 people. It's a week long.
Oh wow!
And I never really spent a week just delving deep into myself. So that was really cool. Yeah. So really kind of learned a lot about myself, and it was a very profound experience. So if there's leaders out there that are looking for that kind of a thing, that I'd put in a plug for those guys any day. The Center for Creative Leadership in Colorado.
Is that like who runs that? Is that like what organization runs that?
The place is called the Center for Creative Leadership. It was set up 30 or 40 years ago by a really wealthy gentleman who believed that leadership matters, and so it was kind of his way of giving back to the world. And now they kind of run it as a business, but it's they train thousands of people every year. The military is our largest customer. It's pretty cool. So it was that was kind of a neat personal one. On the work front. I've been in the role of CEO at Wajax for 2.5 years right now.
Yeah.
And in the first 2 years, I wanted to get 2 main things done. I wanted to get really our purpose and values rolled out to our company. That's something that we didn't really have. I thought it was pretty important that we did, and we were able to do that. And then really we needed to do another 5-year strategic plan. Our last one had run out. We didn't have one. We're kind of operating quarter to quarter without a very long-term plan.
Yeah.
And now we have one of those too.
And you travel quite a bit. Like even last time we talked a lot about like your travels to places like Vietnam, Japan, a lot of traveling, I guess, over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I'm kind of always traveling. I joke with my family and my workmates that my first office is an airplane. So I live in Calgary, Alberta, which is in Western Canada, and our head office is in Toronto, Ontario, so kind of central Canada. And so I live here. When I live in Calgary, most of the time I'm working from home, but I'm not actually here that much. So twice a month I'm in Toronto. So I'm visiting there for kind of a few days in the week. And then the other 2 weeks out of the month, I'm somewhere else.
Okay, we'll dive into all that. Before we do that, you know the theme of the show. We're going to start off with a shot of hot sauce. I have 3 hot sauces in front of me. Mac 1, Mac 2, and Good Looking Hot Sauce. These are actually our sponsors.
Nice.
What do you have for today? What are you gonna?
I've got 2 in front of me. Okay. They're 2 of my favorites. I quite like putting hot sauce on things. I usually don't consume my hot sauce in shooter format.
Oh, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I know it's weird, but I usually just add a couple dabs on. So when I take like a full spoon of it, it's it's
you're really on the show.
I don't know if it's great or not, but I have 2 of my favorites. The one is Cholula. I love it. It's awesome. That's my intro. And then I've got the Valentina hot sauce, which in larger quantities is quite dramatic.
Yeah, the sour ones. Okay, I'm starting off with Good Looking Hot Sauce. We're starting off with a shot of hot sauce.
Okay.
Let's get our blood warm.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, cheers. I got a spoon. Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how I remember it.
It was as bad as the first. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is spicy.
All right.
The team wanted me to ask a few personal questions to dive into you first. What do you think has been your biggest lesson that you've learned? You started your first company at the age of 16. So what do you think has been the biggest lesson for those that are listening today and our team that's listening and they really wanted to ask you this? What has been your biggest lesson, either from a business standpoint or from a personal standpoint?
Over time, I've learned that everyone's going through something. And everyone's going through some big internal battle
for sure
that you will likely never really know about. Unless you get really close with them, then they might give you glimpses. But I think over time, we've all found that even we had really close friends that were super, super close, and years later, they'll tell you about this awful period of time that they were going through, and you just had no idea. And so I think that's been a really big lesson for me, that sometimes people are just going through some incredibly challenging things, and you're wondering like, why is their performance suffering, or why is this happening? And sometimes you just don't know. And so I think that has really just led me just to be more compassionate, just to be more accepting of what people are going through. And I found that, you can't underperform for years, right? Like that's not really gonna work out. But people go through these stints where just something is going on, and I think being compassionate, and instead of trying to whip them harder into working harder, and instead really offer compassion, give them whatever they need, help them get back on track, as opposed to whipping them back on track.
For sure.
I've just found that not only works better, but it's just kind of a more enjoyable way to live.
Yeah.
For me personally, and I think for other people. So I think that's been, the big life lesson, is that we've all got stuff going on, and sometimes we're on 100% and sometimes we're not. And it's really nice when people notice that something's wrong and offer help instead of criticism or something else negative.
Exactly. Now you mentioned one thing, couple of key things. Number one, you got to take care of your people. Number two, you mentioned you can't underperform for a year. And I would argue maybe a year is even too long to underperform. Do you have in your mind like a measuring stick? Like, okay, like if someone's going through some stuff, maybe 3 months to get back on track, or 4 months, like we'll give you that, benefit of the doubt. But if it goes over 6 months, 7 months, like, do you have a number in your head?
And usually we have at our company, we've got a pretty formal process for this stuff. So if things aren't going well, we'll often put people on performance improvement plans. And a lot of time those are 3-month performance improvement plans.
Yeah.
I think those are actually really important. Earlier in my career, I was always hesitant to put people on a performance improvement plan. Now it's like, boom, put them on it right away. Because often, sometimes people just don't know. Sometimes they think that they're doing a great job and they're not.
Exactly.
And just expectations, with their boss and them just aren't really clear. And so sometimes people think that they're knocking it out of the park when really they're about to get fired and they just don't know it.
Yeah.
And nothing is more frustrating for me than in any business that I've worked in, when it finally comes time, we're like, okay, we've done everything we can for this person. We've bent over backwards. It's been a long time. Nothing's changing. Here's the notice that you're fired. And they just did not see it coming. Like, that is the ultimate failure of leadership, in my opinion. So if you can, you just got to let people know that they're screwing up. So one, they got to know that, and sometimes people, I know I've been, you get in a funk, right? Something's going on personally, or you're just overloaded and you're just in this not great space. And the one common thing that I've noticed with myself when I'm in those times is that I don't know that I'm in that time until later on. Like, when you look back, you think, oh yeah, I really wasn't performing at my best. So even just letting somebody know that, hey, things aren't going well, and then using that to lead into, okay, well, what's going on outside of the workplace? Or are you overloaded here? Are you overloaded at home? What's happening? So I think those performance improvement plans just open up a conversation, so that rather than just saying, oh, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then, okay, well, keep underperforming, I guess.
Yeah. Like for me, I don't know if you do this. Yeah. I don't know if you do this. Like for me, when there's a team member underperforming, the first thing I think about is like, maybe something is going on. There's something going on, and I need to ask about their life first. I'd never assume that they intentionally didn't work. No one intentionally joins a team and doesn't perform. Like that's just not. I truly believe that people are good. There's something going on in their life, and I'll say like 8 or 9 times out of 10, it is the case. Maybe there's a family member that recently got sick, or a pet that got sick and the bill was incredibly high, or something going on in their life. And I think it's very important. I love that. That was the first thing you brought up. Yeah. Other question that they wanted to ask. This is a good one. I actually want to know about this one as well. No way.
Is this one getting involved?
I don't think it's gonna be hot sauce. I don't think it's gonna be. No, it's gonna be. That's not a hot sauce. But I know Noe and Sophie are listening, and
that'd be great to wash down with hot sauce, right? That's okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. They wanted to know, what is your go-to quote that just always gets you hyped? We all have that one quote that's like, when you read it, you're like, yes. And I know it changes over time, but maybe right now, what's your go-to quote that you read and it just gets you?
I guess there's two. One is, it's our business. We can do whatever we want. And so the context behind that is, often there's, in any business, there's always 50 or 100 broken things. It's just the nature of business, right? Like, no business is perfect, and ours is no exception. We've got lots of broken things, and every company's like that. But I think just saying, it's our business, we can do whatever we want. Even though we're not the majority owners in this case, we are the leaders of the company, and we've been hired by the board to run it as we see fit. So I think it just puts accountability on us that, hey, there's a problem, but we're the ones that can fix it. We're the ones that can do something about it, and that's kind of talking about our leadership team. So I've always liked that one. And then another one that just seems to always kind of float around in my head and in conversations is that if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and it would already be done.
There you go.
Like the things in business are often hard and challenging, just like in any field. But if it was easy, then like, why you wouldn't even need us to do these things? You can hire just a computer and make it happen. But they are hard, and I think hard is what makes it great.
Awesome. Love that. I love that. Okay, we're gonna get into talking about Wajax a little bit, but before we do that, Sophie told you about this in the very beginning. We started this new segment called This or That, obviously with the goal of trying to get us to take a shot of hot sauce. So I think they're going to do a good job with this. So they sent me 5 questions. I'm going to ask you this or that, and I just want you to answer really quickly this or that. So first one, for example, cat or dog? Cat or dog person?
Dog.
Good.
Dog.
Spend a year working on a failing project or fire half your team to save it?
Spend a year.
Risk it all or play it safe?
Risk it all.
Innovation all the way or sticking to old traditions?
All the way.
Innovation. All the way. Okay. Wow, this one's tough. Okay. You have to promote one of these people or it's going to cause tension. You got to choose one. Choose between your director of operations or your regional sales manager. So basically choosing between ops or sales.
That's all the information I get?
Yeah. Well, they put like specific names. I don't know if you'll remember their names, but you got a director of operations. His name is Shane, and your regional sales manager is James. You got to promote one of them.
But I'll go with sales because I think sales, that really drives the top line in the success.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna have to say something to Shane after this episode. sorry, Shane. All right, cool. Okay, so we didn't get the hot sauce there, and so I think they said we got to take a hot sauce.
Should we just do it anyway?
Yeah, they said we got to take a shot of hot sauce regardless. So,
okay. So am I going to number 2 here, or am I just still sticking with number 1?
I'll go up. I'm going to go up to Mac 1. So this one's a little spicier than the good-looking hot sauce.
Okay, I'll go to my Valentina here.
Valentina. Is your family really big on hot sauces, or?
No, just me.
Just you. All right.
Just me.
You ready?
I think so.
Okay. Cheers.
Let's do it.
Yeah. definitely chunks of habanero in here.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Wajax a little bit. Oh, the shoulders. The shoulders are getting loose.
Getting into it.
Getting loose. I was in Mexico for a little bit, so there's a lot of dancing. There's definitely a lot of shoulder action going on. Okay, so last time we chatted, we kind of got to talk a little bit about Wajax and the company. You guys were doing like $2 billion revenue or something crazy like that. I guess not too much has changed since then.
Yeah, we're a little up. Like we're probably around 2.2 billion now. So we grew 10% last year.
Oh,
so I think we'll hopefully keep going on that trajectory. But yeah, I think generally like there hasn't been huge changes in the company. When I got to Wajax and I started this role 2.5 years ago,
yeah,
I just felt so fortunate. The previous CEO before me, his name's Mark Foote, awesome leader, really knew what he was doing, and he built along with all the people there, built a really great foundation, and handed me the keys to a ship that was built really well, generally sailing in the direction that I would want to sail it. So I mean, it's different when you inherit something that's burning and on fire, and you got to make a whole bunch of changes.
For sure.
And, that's a different game, and that really was not the case here. It was a good company with a lot of good things going on. The company had started, I'll call it a people first journey. It like lightly was tiptoeing into it a little bit before I got there, and that kind of is my thing, and really driving people first culture in a company, with the belief that if you invest in your people and you care for your people, they'll give their best to the company and to their coworkers and customers and suppliers, and ultimately their communities and families too. So that's really been my angle for most of my career, and so I was just able to really pour some gas on that fire.
Yeah,
and that's what we've really been doing. So we're still in the same product lines, in the same geographies, but like we're doing a lot of the same, just a little bit more with a focus on people.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we were talking about like the first thing we talked about last time was just culture and how there's like, there's foosball, there's dry cleaning, there's a massage therapist, and then you're doing a bunch of things, you're working with charities and recruiting great people. And so there's so much that you're doing. Now that we are $200 million up in revenue, is there more? Is there more that you're adding onto culture? Is there now like, is there like a little puppy cafe in the office? Like, are there extra things now, or is it pretty much the same as before?
I think there's really a lot of great basics that still need to be rolled out to our company, and those things that you mentioned, we have those in some places, but not in all.
Not in all.
And so really taking the time to roll out the basics to our whole company is really the first step, and that's still going to take time. Like we've got a ways to go, and a big part of that is training, and really training our leaders. We've got about 450 people leaders in our company, and providing them the training and the tools to be these people first leaders. Like that's the first step. I mean, you can have a foosball table and a whatever, but if you've got a boss that doesn't believe in this people first thing, you're going to quit anyway. So, and like if you have someone that's not aligned with those behaviors, so that's where we're really focusing on efforts, is on our people, making sure they've got the tools to be the best leaders that they can be, so that they can bring out the best in their people.
Okay, let's switch over to marketing. Last time we talked a little bit about marketing. And all the different tools that you're using right now. Maybe I'll leave it pretty open-ended. What has been the most profitable thing that you invested in marketing in the last 12 months? And what was it, and why did it work so well?
Well, I think there's a couple things that we do that we spend a decent amount of money on. I mean, we're a direct relationship kind of company, so we're really into face-to-face relationships. And it's funny, I always kind of thought as retail companies, that would be the ones that had the personal relationship, right? Like you're a business dealing with a consumer, there's a personal relationship, but really there isn't, right? Like there's no relationship between, I don't know, Canadian Tire and the individual consumer. Like that consumer is, they're a male aged 25 to 40 that looks like this, and they spend. So there isn't that relationship. But in B2B, which is what we have, there are direct relationships.
Sure.
Like our salesperson John has a relationship with purchaser Dave, and they've had a relationship for 15 years. And so those. It's really neat to have those direct relationships with our customers. And so we kind of approach it two ways. We do a lot of event-based marketing where our customers are. Yeah. So it could be at trade shows and things like that. Really spend a lot of time and effort to do it the right way to interact with our customers there. And we've been doing that forever. I don't think there's anything special about the way that we do it versus others, but it works pretty well. And then and the main electronic medium that we use to get in touch with our customers is Net Promoter Score, which is done through a voice of the customer program. So we've mapped out the journey of a customer, and then there's these moments of truth along the way, right? Like, and they are like, can I even get the right person on the phone, right? Like, if you can't do that, that's a moment of truth, and we either succeeded or we didn't. And then when I get the person on the phone, do they know what they're talking about, and can they actually help me, or is this just an order taker that's been in the job a month?
Right.
So I have another moment of truth. And then the third moment of truth is, do you have the part that I need and ready to go? And so there's more, but those would be the three main ones.
Yeah.
And so we actually measure those moments of truth using a Net Promoter Score, and we send it out at different times to different customers, and that's how we really gather a lot of feedback. Yeah. If we get good feedback, we'll pass it on to our sales team. And if we get negative feedback, we actually have a team dedicated to reaching out to those customers to just try to figure out what's going on. Is it just a communication issue, or like did we really drop the ball?
Yeah.
And kind of try to get under the hood of it a little bit, and then we bring in the sales team or the manager just to try to smooth things over if there's a problem to be smoothed over.
Yeah.
And then we'll try to do whatever it takes to make it right for the customer, because man, oh man, whatever you spend on keeping a customer, that's way cheaper than going and
getting
finding
a
a
new
new
one.
customer.
Oh, for sure. And not only that,
Yeah.
when your customers are actually your fans and you know, you're, let's say Dave from that company you mentioned, just, you know, arbitrary Dave, he has a great experience with Wajax, and he goes to a barbecue with his friend, and he's like, oh, don't you like get your equipment from a company called Wajax? What's been your experience with them? And he says a good raving review about Wajax. That is marketing next level. I mean, that's the barbecue. Yeah. That's the barbecue test, right? Like when people talk about Wajax, do people recognize the name? And if that is because of a good customer experience, like for me, I can't tell how many times I would rave about a company if I had a good experience versus if I had a bad experience. I'm going to say the exact opposite, a bad experience, right? So yeah, I think investing in retaining customers is so much more important. So would you say that is your guys' secret sauce at Wajax?
Yeah. I mean, I think our secret sauce is our people. That's the strongest thing that we have. We've got a lot of really experienced, really smart people. Yeah. I mean, I've run into numerous people at Wajax who've been there 50 years, 50. That means they started their career before they were 18 in many cases. You know, they were just working on a shop part-time while finishing up high school, and then, you know, went into an apprenticeship and been there 50 years. It's insane. And lots at 40 years, tons at 30 years, like 20 years is almost, you know, 20 years is an incredible milestone. And at our company, it's almost like, well, good job. We'll see you at the quarter century mark. So it's just there's this real longevity, which is really amazing. So yeah, I think that's really our secret sauce. We've got a lot of people who really care about our customers and solving their problems, and they've got the experience to really offer a great solution, whereas some other companies might not quite have that.
I think Noe just sent me a hot sauce question. We're going to go with it. So out of all the people that you've met at the company, people like, you know, 20 plus years, who has been your name one or two names that you just absolutely felt like they're probably, you know, your top two favorite employees?
Is this the one where I'm supposed to say, I can't just pick two, let's do a shot of hot sauce?
Ball's in your court.
Okay, I can't pick two because they're all awesome,
all awesome.
So I don't want to call it in.
All right.
Maybe some, let's back to the sauce.
Back to the sauce. I'll stick with.
I'm going to go back to.
Yeah, I'll stick with.
Which is actually more.
Is it better?
I found this one to be more spicy.
Okay.
Than the other one, right. So I'll just
go with Mac 1. I'll go with Mac 2 after.
Okay, that was more than I thought. Okay,
cheers.
Let's do it.
Sorry we couldn't get the hot sauce to you in time. By the way,
no problem. I really do like hot sauce, so I've always got a few hanging around the house.
Oh,
I don't love it in shooter format. That's definitely confirmed.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I don't know why the team is making me do this every week. It's not even.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. Okay, so marketing, direct relationships. So a lot of field marketing, a lot of money into field marketing. You mentioned events. You guys doing a bunch of events. What has been some of your favorite events in the last 12 months that you guys have been on, and like what worked about it?
We do quite a few. It's event marketing is so challenging to measure the impact because
so challenging.
Yeah, let's say you go to you attend a trade show and spend a bunch of money, right? Like you rent the booth and you kind of do a big one and you spend the cash and you send 10 people down, and then you get 5 leads out of it, and then you track those through, and there's and you can put revenue to it. You can even attach profit dollars to that. Well, yeah, I mean, did those leads really come from that trade show, or was it already from an existing customer?
Yeah,
that you saw at the trade show that say, oh yeah, there was a thing I wanted to talk to you about. I was going to call you, but since I got you here, let's just talk about it now.
Yeah,
lead, right? So it's so hard to measure the impact of those types of events, but we do them anyway. We think it's important to be in front of it's important to meet your customer where the customer is. Like if your customer is like going to these trade shows, and that's where they go to learn
go
things
there.
and spend some time, and that's where you should be. In some cases, we'll just sponsor a part of one of our customers' golf tournaments and go be with them, be with all their staff, and do it that way. So we just try to meet our customers where they are and do the kind of things that they really care about, because there's no sense in us trying to invent things or invent events that we think they might want to go to. Let's just do what they want to do.
So when you think about events, then do you look at, like, is it very important for you to then ask the event organizers who is in the room, and then being able to know who's in the room before you make a decision? Or have you built these relationships with these people long enough that you already know who's in the room? You don't, like, do you only go to those types of events where you have a history with them? Or do you ever look at new types of events and new types of conferences and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, you can only get history with events if you start them new at some point. So
Exactly.
so we do new ones too, and I think we're fine with experimenting.
Yeah.
So usually, if one of our customers comes to us and says, "We're doing this thing, would you like to participate?" Usually, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
We'll participate in some way. Like when your good customer asks you to do something, you usually do.
Yeah.
And then we evaluate. If it was a first year, we do the event, and it's kind of a flop, then probably less likely to do it again next year. But we certainly do try new things all the time and see what sticks, because you never know.
You just never know. Anything that you've invested in recently in marketing that didn't work well in the last 12 months? Where you invested and you're like, not going to do that again?
Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, we've been trying to work on our PR a little bit more, and trying to build some non-paid advertising content out there, whether that's podcasts or articles or things like that. And we were having a hard time really getting some traction on that, but we found a really great agency that we've been working with recently, and that's been working well. So we got to put a bunch of money towards doing it. Nothing really panned out for a year or two, and now we found a different group of people that seem to really be delivering some results. So that's working pretty well.
We are, speaking about PR, we've been doing this podcast for a year and a half now. We've done 90 episodes, and we've never done anything in person. So we are considering, and I guess this is a plug for the listeners, we are going to San Francisco for the first time. We're going to be doing a live podcast in front of an audience of 150 people. So more information to come out on that. But we have a solid panel of 4 great female C-suites that have come on the show, from ClickUp.com all the way to Crispy Crunchy Chicken, $600 million enterprise. So it's going to be a good night. Amazing. And we're thinking of doing something in Canada.
Wonderful.
So I'll let you know. Maybe Toronto. Maybe.
That's great. Keep me posted.
Yeah.
And then do these. I assume these involve hot sauce too.
Yeah, and we will choose the hot sauce. So it might be a little spicy, but I'm sure you can handle it. But yeah, like, it's so important, right? To just get in front of your audience, whether that's kind of like meet the customers where they're at. Meet your audience where they're at. Are they on TikTok, Insta? Where are they? Find them, and then build a relationship with them in person. And so that's what we're kind of moving towards. Okay. Would love to talk a little bit about things that you guys are testing out in AI. Before we do that, another quick, similar to the this or that segment, it's a rapid fire round. So again, we're going to ask you 2, 4, 6 questions. Just quick answer.
All right. Sounds great. I'm ready.
First thing you do in the morning?
Usually go to the gym.
One skill you're working on improving in 2024?
Playing the piano.
Biggest challenge you've overcome in the last 12 months?
Spending more time with family.
Yeah. Your favorite department in Wajax?
Sales?
One of the favorite people you've hired in the last 12 months? Or the last 2 months?
In the last 2 months. I haven't hired anyone directly in the last 2 months. So why don't we do a shot of hot sauce?
All right, let's do that. All right, I'm going up to Mac 1. Mac 2 this time.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little spicier.
Here. Okay.
Oh, cheers. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. What is that? I got like a huge chunky thing. Oof. Yeah, that's spicy. So your kids and your wife they don't like spicy at all? Zero?
They're not usually going for the hot sauce. My wife sometimes. My kids not at all.
Not at all? Zero? Well, what did they like? Like what's if we asked your kids what their favorite food or dish is, what would they say?
They like pretty bland things. So, pierogies, macaroni and cheese, and basically any kind of candy.
Yeah, any kind of candy. Yeah, that's a total kid thing to.
Classic teenagers, right? Like that's what they love.
Which
is great.
What are kids buying these days? Like, what do you get your kids for like Christmas or whatever? Like, what does a typical present look like? Is it just like another app on their phone, or are there toys that they like?
Our kids are pretty low maintenance. Like they don't really ask for too much stuff. So I remember when I was little, there were lots of toys that I wanted, and it was great. I was pretty easy to shop for, and it's hard. It's hard with our kids. So usually we try to do it around something like one of their hobbies. Like they really like art. So
Okay.
then drawing and painting. So maybe we'll get them some gear to do that. But I've actually found it a little bit challenging to shop for them, which is weird because you think kids are so easy to shop for. Just give them anything at the toy store. But they're at that age where they're 14, so they're not really playing with too many toys anymore.
Right.
And so it's
Right.
it's tricky.
Okay, wanted to talk a little bit about AI tools because obviously Wajax is a historical, like older company, since 1858 or something like that, right? It's been a while. It's an older company, but you guys still focus on innovation, and AI is at the forefront right now. So maybe just a very high level, you guys are using any AI tools right now or integrating any AI tools at Wajax?
Yeah, I would say it's early innings for us. We're doing a little bit. So just a few examples. We set up an AI kind of chatbot online for our staff to get solutions to IT problems.
Yeah.
So I got to do my password or whatever else, just things like that. And so they normally people would send in a ticket, and it would be evaluated by a person, and then it would come back. And now we're using some AI to deal with that, and that's more than half of the tickets are solved by a computer now, which is pretty cool. So that's we named it Barista.
Barista.
So that's yeah. It's our IT chatbot, Barista.
Nice.
That's one. We have a different AI tool within our ERP, our main software, our enterprise resource planning software that we use for pricing and customers and financials and all of that.
Right.
We have an AI tool that's built into there that helps with pricing. So just to help. So when a salesperson pulls up a quote for something, they let them know it's okay. Here's what this customer bought at last time based on our analysis of this market and this type of customer. Here's what you could charge for it, but don't go any lower than this. And
Wow.
So it gives kind of a range. So that's I would say that's kind of early innings too. There's another one that's built into Salesforce. It's an AI engine. And we're starting to use that a little bit for route planning. So if we would hire a new salesperson who sells forklifts, as an example, there's a bit of an AI tool that helps them map out, who to go see in what order to make their day most efficient. So that's another one that we're playing around with. But I think in terms of technology, our main push is actually we're in the midst of still launching this ERP tool to our company. We're more than halfway done. We'll be fully done in about a year. But so we're gonna dabbling in AI over here. But our main push is getting the software pushed out, and once it's pushed out, then I think we'll really start thinking a little bit more about how to get more productive.
So you guys are 50% in. Big company.
Yep.
How much have you guys invested into that so far?
Oh, lots, millions and millions. But it's been, of all the ERP rollouts that I've been a part of, this is my third one. This is by far the best one.
Really?
The least amount of bumps. Isn't perfect, of course not. Like no. I don't know if anyone ever said, "Oh, this computer system rollout has been absolutely perfect and everybody loved it." I mean, that's nobody says that.
Yeah.
But it's as closest to that as possible.
Yeah.
I think our users still. I think every user, when a new system comes in, gets a little bit frustrated at the beginning because it is different than before. But we've had just our IT team, the service support that they've had for our frontline workers has been so incredible. So they've done a really, really good job. So I'm excited to get it finished up, and then really excited to start going back and looking how do we make things more efficient? How do we, have little bits of AI that we can layer on top? I don't know if we'll ever really be like a really deep AI shop. And we met with a leading consulting firm around AI, and they gave me a piece of advice which really kind of stuck with me. They said when you look at a problem, ask yourself, do I need AI to solve this problem, or can I solve it some other way?
Mm-hmm.
Is a spreadsheet fine? And generally, the advice that we've gotten is if you can solve it a way that does not involve AI, do that.
Yeah.
Because solving with AI, like, you really have to invest a lot to train AI and solve it that way. So if it's solvable doing something else, do that. But if you've got a problem set that requires AI because nothing else works,
Exactly.
then that's when you might want to spend a little bit of time doing it. And I feel like there's a lot of there's a lot of companies chasing AI solutions and trying to use AI just to say, hey, we're using AI.
Yeah.
And using it to solve problems that don't actually need AI to solve.
Yeah, just because it's the hot thing right now.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So you guys work with an external AI consultant on that.
Yep.
That seems to be a huge trend. Everyone is coming up. There's a lot of people, self-proclaimed AI experts on LinkedIn. I'm sure you've seen them all over LinkedIn. Yeah. So
absolutely.
It sounds like you've gotten with a firm that actually is an AI the AI experience.
Yeah, and we're not jumping in too deep. We're dabbling just to get a little bit of a knowledge base. So, but we're not ready to go full on into anything yet because we still got over a year of rolling out this system, and that is by far our number one priority. AI is, that's like a distant third or fourth or fifth priority when it comes to IT.
Yeah. All right. Couple more questions and then we'll wrap up. I think we'll wrap up in like five minutes ish.
Perfect.
So you're quite busy, obviously, as a CEO, and so many employees, like you mentioned, 400 plus leaders alone. And then you also got to balance out with your personal life, twin daughters, and your wife and all that stuff. How do you, what tools are you using? What apps are you personally using, AI or not, to manage your time and your life? Because I can imagine you got a million things going on.
I think everyone's busy, right? We all have the same number of hours in a day. We just wear different hats. But I'm probably less busy than some other people just because I do have a really great support team. We've got teams at work that take a lot of stuff off my plate. Yeah. Whereas I think probably the busiest people are entrepreneurs, who have like 0 or 1 employees, right? Because they have to do everything themselves.
Yeah.
And so those folks are the ones that are really burning the candle at both ends and go up until midnight every day.
How many hours are you working per day, would you say?
I work a pretty normal work week. I'm usually kind of started by 7:30 and wrap up before dinner. So I'm usually not working in the evenings too much unless there is some kind of really busy deadline thing, and weekends is pretty rare too.
10 hours a day kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, and that when I'm on the road, I'm spending evenings with people having dinner.
Yeah,
but I try to keep the weekends relatively free. But to answer your question, there's not really that many apps. I don't really have productivity apps or anything like that I use too much.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been trying to do the opposite. I've been trying to shut my phone off and not be checking my emails all the time, and not be checking apps all the time. I find that my most productive time is when I leave my office. I'll actually walk. There's a Starbucks in my neighborhood, and so it's about a 20-minute walk. I'll walk there, and I'll just bring a notebook. And there's usually a couple problems that I want to work through, and I'll just write down the problem and just get some tea and work on it for an hour or two, just writing in a notebook. And I find that's actually my most productive time. Yeah, so what I really want to spend my time on is is that like writing and thinking, reading. I feel like in kind of today's hustle culture, reading and thinking is often not really thought of as real work. Like if you're not hustling and doing something, you're not working. But the reading and thinking time is the most important time. And I would argue that's the case, not for CEOs, but for everyone. Like at every level in a company, maybe you don't spend as much time doing that, but even an hour a week, like break it up into 2 half-hour segments, can be really transformative for people if they really do it properly. So just spending that kind of time learning, reading, and writing. And then the other really great use of my time is communicating with the various stakeholders, mostly with our people, but I also have a board of directors and investors that I need to keep in touch with, but mostly to our people. And I do that through either, writing memos or notes or posts, and spending one-on-one time or time in groups. So those are, if I'm doing those things, that's when I think I'm most productive. And then all the other stuff like answering emails, obviously you have to do, but I try to block that and just get it done as quick as possible so I can get onto these things.
That's such an important thing, because now that we have ChatGPT and so many AI tools, a lot of the doing, like you said, the hustling and the doing and the execution, that stuff is sped up 10, 20 times now. Many times you don't have to do it anymore. So what's really important is the thinking and the strategic part, which comes through reading, pen on paper sometimes, or however you strategize. Like you like pen and paper, I probably more like Excel. Like I live and die off of Excel, and I'll do a lot of my brainstorming there. But the strategy part, that is the most important part, because then now you're not replaceable by AI. And there's so many movies about that, by the way, about how like AI is taking over, and then how the humans, take the world back is just through strategy. Things that like AI cannot tap into, because AI can only tap into information that's already out there. But whatever's in your brain or whatever, that is not out there yet. And that is the secret to innovation, is the strategy behind it. That's so cool. I guess we're just about wrapping up. Anything that you guys are working on in terms of marketing that you think that might be cool to talk about, or any kind of trends that you're following in marketing that we've missed already?
I think we've covered most of it. I mean, some stuff that we didn't really cover is just, I think it's pretty basic stuff, but all the kind of pay-per-click kind of things that we do. So we do that on all social media platforms and in Google. Some of our, some of the things that we sell they are a little more retail, right? Like we'll sell, like a small compact excavator to a landscaping company. And a lot of those folks, they just log in Google, mini excavator landscaping and see what pops up. So we do some work around there. We track that pretty diligently. And I think we usually have some pretty good success on that we actually measure. So that's another one of the things that we do. So we try to engage that way electronically with new customers.
32,000 followers. It works pretty Congrats. Well. That's getting up there. It's getting up there. You're getting popular.
Well, yeah. So there's Google Ads,
Iggy,
but then there's also
we'll catch you on round 3, and maybe in person if we ever bring Marketing on Mars in person.
There's kind of like pay-per-clicks.
All right.
For
cheers.
It's the same thing.
Which channel is providing the highest ROI, like return on ad spend?
I would say it's usually LinkedIn. People go on there for businessy kind of things.
Wow.
And
what's
that works pretty decent for us.
I guess final hot sauce before we head out. What has been your return on investment on LinkedIn? Is it like pretty high, like 5x, 4x, 3x?
It's hard to say. Let's do a shot of hot sauce.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. But it's working, folks. It's probably higher than 1x.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Final.
Last one.
Cheers. Well, Iggy, it's a pleasure catching up with you once a year, taking shots of hot sauce, being kids again. Oh, that was not good. Wow. For the folks that are listening that made it all the way here, and folks that are watching the shorts once it's out, tell us what's any cool things that are happening or at Wajax, or where they can follow along your journey, your personal journey, or Wajax's journey. Just just a quick plug for you and the company.
Yeah, I think most of our neat things we post through LinkedIn. That's the social platform that I spend my time on, and then Wajax is on all the social platforms. But in terms of kind of the neat business things that we're doing, those tend to make their way onto LinkedIn. So if you'd like to follow us there, that would be the place.
Yeah, and Iggy has been very active lately too. A lot of engagement on his post. So yeah, reach out to him, Iggy Domagalski, on LinkedIn. 32,000 followers. Congrats. That's getting up there. It's getting up there. You're getting popular.
Yep.
Iggy, pleasure. We'll catch you on round 3, and maybe in person if we ever bring Mark and Mars in person in the near future.
That'd be awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Great to see you as always.
Cheers.